What y'all know about it? But look, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Nah, nah, nah. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Yeah, yeah.
DEEZY Squad! What's good, DEEZY Squad? It's a good DEEZY baby, and I am back again with another video for y'all. And I've been trying to get to this video for months, okay, literally. But it came out last year. I thought this would be a great video to get into. This is the Dark Side of Disney Channel deep dive. I just thought this would be so entertaining, very interesting to, you know, listen to and just see, because I think it's very controversial. Like, Disney, working for Disney, I know there's some actors and actresses that are like, bro, that was a terrible experience. I'm never doing it again. I wouldn't tell anybody to do this, blah, blah, blah. And there's some actors and actresses that are like, oh, I had an amazing time on Disney. I would definitely suggest, you know what I'm saying, someone try it if they would want to, you know. I don't know. But let me fix this camera, because first of all, this ain't even straight. This ain't straight. Alright. That's better. But yeah, y'all. So I just thought this would be a great video to get into. This is 45 minutes. Grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, your drinks, everything. Alright, we about to get into it. I'm gonna have my captions on so that I can make sure. Alright. Alright, got Dylan Sprouse on the right here, right in front of us. Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that bell so y'all know when I post. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, let's just get into it.
First off, we needed to stop the show. We knew it was time.
You chose to stop it.
Yes, my brother and I actually quit off Disney Channel.
As someone whose professional career initially spiked at 11 years old, and whose face is now the cover of clickbait articles titled 10 Shocking Ways These Child Stars Died.
It's Allison Stoner. I'm Brenda Song. I'm Ashley Tisdale. I'm Debbie Ryan. Hi, I'm Dylan Sprouse. I'm Cole Sprouse.
We quit one because it's
I'm Disney royalty.
She feel like I'm watching a movie, baby. Yeah, we watching a movie.
Hi, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Jake.
Welcome to Deep Dive, where we dive into told and untold stories
with extreme detail.
If it happened,
it's probably in a deep dive.
Gosh, I used to love seeing this before a Disney original movie would come on.
Disney Channel machine.
And show just how some of these kids were thrust into the spotlight
And made to work harder than most adults.
The goal of the series is to chronicle the transitional period between baby,
Actor, and for some, cultural phenomenon. We also want to take a moment to thank you all for 100,000. Really couldn't be lived to get deep.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
In the spring of 1977, Jim Jamiro, a visionary at the Walt Disney Company, went to his higher-ups about an idea for a children's and family network called the Disney Channel, a variety show of sorts that would entertain the masses. Unfortunately, in the late 70s, there were only about 1.2 million cable subscribers nationwide, and although Disney executives liked the idea, they essentially laughed in Jim's face. He is quoted saying, "Back then we could have done it for 50 cents. Everybody liked the idea, but the truth is nobody took it seriously. Their reaction was essentially, Jim, go do your 8mm home movies."
We did the channel because we did a lot of research that showed that there were literally tens of millions of people across this country who really wanted a kind of wholesome or family programming that wasn't being offered. Benton and Bull's advertising agency did a study fairly recently that indicated that something like 33% of the people who don't subscribe to pay television, with or without children, don't do it because they don't want R-rated pictures into their houses. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's not a tremendous market for that kind of material. I'm just saying that we discovered that there was a gap in the marketplace.
But it would be Jim Jamiro who had the last laugh, as the 80s brought great investments into the Walt Disney Company. The same year they built the billion-dollar theme park Epcot, the Walt Disney Company gave Jim Jamiro the green light on beginning what we know today as the most iconic children's network of all time, the Disney Channel.
That, as they say, is just the beginning. In the months ahead, you'll see more great movies
is crazy.
for the whole family, more new shows
How
that are
old
fun
this
to
is.
watch, easy on the eyes, and packed with the things that you want to know. The people at the Disney Channel want you to know that that's a promise, a commitment to bringing you and your family the kind of quality television you'll be glad to welcome into your home.
The Disney Channel has kickstarted hundreds of careers, but it hasn't been without consequence. The rise to child stardom is a controversial one, filled with predatory casting directors, dangerous producers, and in today's episode, even convicted criminals. So be prepared, because we are going to be taking a look at one of the longest running Disney Channel shows of all time, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and chronicle just how one show not only launched the careers of some of the most influential people on the entire planet, but also hired a dangerous criminal right out of jail.
Stupid looking ears, doesn't it? No, what do you mean no? Look, the goof's got ears like an elephant. Say it.
No.
Come on, say it, Whip.
Yes, stupid.
What an idiot! You're twins! That means you got stupid ears too! What?
Twins Dylan and Cole Sprouse were born on August 4th, 1992. And just 8 months later, they were thrust into the spotlight.
We started, basically, our mom put us in the business when we were really, really, really little. We were about 8 months old when we started. We did diaper commercial. And then from then to 5 years old, we did Grace Under Fire.
However, Dylan and Cole would be playing the same role.
I'm not gonna have you tell me this morning you had a secret in Bradley. Tell me a secret, even though it's just you and me. Whisper a secret.
Very loose children's work restrictions were finally beginning to take form in California, and Hollywood studios needed to adapt accordingly. One of these ways was through the hiring of twins. According to California law, child actors between the age of 2 to 6 are only allowed to work 3 hours a day, and babies under 2 can only work 2 hours per day. With a twin, you can double that time and finish filming scenes faster and more efficiently. So essentially, Hollywood production companies were hiring twins so they could drain them of more work hours. These laws only got more stringent, and by the time Dylan and Cole were off of Grace Under Fire and onto their next project, they had no trouble landing another role, as twins were in very high demand. They had done several small roles, however their big break came in the late 90s when they starred along Adam Sandler in the hit film Big Daddy.
Yes, sir.
No, I did. No, I did. Mommy said I did.
I started working with Adam Sandler.
That's so cute.
He's a pretty shy guy. Like, you wouldn't think that he's shy at first, but he really does open up. The great thing is he has a comedy for all ages.
This movie catapulted their careers to the mainstream. However, nothing could have prepared the twins for their Disney Channel debut, as in the coming years, Dylan and Cole Sprouse would become household names.
Zach lost her at school. I think he's angry.
How do you lose a woman?
You forget to cherish her.
Not you forget to
In the
cherish
early
her.
2000s, as Disney Channel was focusing less on animation and putting more funding into live-action children's programming, we saw the rise of the hit original Disney Channel shows like Phil of the Future, Lizzie McGuire, and the Even Stevens. However, this was only the beginning. Multiple shows would begin production during the golden era of Disney Channel, including That's So Raven, Hannah Montana, and of course, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
That was definitely the golden age of Disney Channel.
Unlimited room service,
Golden era.
and
You had your underwear dry clean? Feels good.
The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Disney Channel's original comedy series.
When casting and writing the show, Disney saw Dylan and Cole Sprouse as far more than just interchangeable twins. They saw two different personalities that played off of each other and knew as one character they could shine, but as twins, they could be marketed to the masses.
When Disney came to us with the offer of The Sweet Life, we were really grateful, and you know, that's just kept us from there.
And so when Dylan and Cole were just 11 years old, executives at Disney Channel did just that. The series would follow a pair of twins named Zach and Cody around a parody of the Hilton Hotel as they wreaked havoc on their family and friends. Using existing Disney Channel stars, they built a dream cast.
This March, look who's coming.
Such an amazing cast.
Cody, a brand new Disney Channel original series. Coming to March on Disney Channel.
That is crazy how they used to be.
No parody of the Hilton Hotel would be complete without an iconic era socialite. So Disney Channel writers dreamed up London Tipton, an airhead who also happened to be the heir to the Tipton fortune. She was outwardly happy and had everything anyone could ever want, but deep down she craved connection and missed her parents more than anything.
This wouldn't have to do more with your father not showing up for the father-daughter dance, would it?
Baby. I just thought he might actually show up this time.
London needed a frenemy, and that came in the form of Maddie Fitzpatrick, a studious teen girl London's age who worked at the Tipton Hotel candy counter to support her family. However, casting...
Bro, those candies that Maddie had, they just looked extra good for some reason. They probably all fake, but they just looked extra good. Like, I was like, I've always, you know, I remember thinking, I want one of those candy bars. Like, I just remember it.
These characters would be no simple task. Maddie needed to be quick-witted, snappy, and smart, while London needed to be pretentious, likable, but still three-dimensional. The part of London Tipton originally went to none other than Ashley Tisdale, a teen Broadway performer who previously had done voice acting work for A Bug's Life, and the part of Maddie Fitzpatrick originally went to Philip the Future star Brenda Song. Brenda told W Magazine it was Ashley Tisdale who tested for the role of London Tipton. They were going to go full true Paris Hilton parody, and when we read for the roles, they were like, no, actually you guys switched parts. Hollywood wasn't doing that then. Every audition was like a job to me. I didn't get a lot of auditions. It wasn't until I got into the Disney family that they were so very open.
I got into this accident. I was like 4 years old.
Wendy Wu?
In Northern
Bro,
California.
that was a great
movie.
movie.
Like a big model search in the middle of the mall. This school wasn't legit at all, but I met a real agent through it. And I sort of just
say there's so many scams out there.
Yeah, and it was, but I was lucky enough to meet a real agent. I just love being on a set. I love what I do. We're really lucky that, you know, I mean, at least for me, I get to live out the dream that I had since I was like 7 years old, and, you know, every single day. So I can't complain.
So I feel really proud of that, because for me, growing up, I didn't see a lot of girls who looked like me on TV, and it was a little disheartening because I was like, I'm not Jackie Chan, I'm not Jet Li, how am I going to do this? Brenda even got accepted into Harvard at just 16 years old when she officially landed the role. However, she went with her dreams of becoming an actress instead. Disney replaced her on Philip the Future and thus transformed her into the iconic London Tipton. And Ashley Tisdale assumed her new role as Maddie Fitzpatrick with ease and showcased her versatility.
I did not know that was her last name.
Fitzpatrick. I'm so grateful for playing those roles. Like, at that time in my life, that was like what I wanted to do. I was like, I need to be on Disney.
The twins needed a reason to live at the hotel. Different characters who worked in the hotel along with a parental figure. The soap opera icon herself, Kim Rhodes, assumed the part of Carrie Martin, a divorced mother of twins who lives and sings at the luxury hotel. Phil Lewis would be cast as Mr. Mosby, the uptight hotel manager who acted as a father figure to London and was always at odds with Zach and Cody.
Are you familiar with the gear shift?
This scene right here is
the
funny.
Prindle.
The what?
The Prindle.
Are you referring to the shift lever that says P-R-N-D-L?
That's a child's Mosby. I know how to spell Prindle.
It's not something you spell. It is a gear shift. The letters stand for park, reverse, neutral, drive, and left.
You're making me nervous with all this technical talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't we just relax or turn on the radio?
I would've
Would you like
cracked up,
ham or fin?
Adrian Ramonte would be cast as Mr. Mosby's bellboy. Esteban Julio Ricardo
Esteban
Montoya
Julio
de la
Ricardo
Rosa
Montoya
Ramirez.
de la
Brian Stepnick became a fan favorite when he was cast as the scatterbrained engineer Arwen, whose love for Carrie Martin was only rivaled by his love for creating disastrous inventions for the hotel. And Allison Stoner, a dance prodigy who gained major recognition at just 11 years old when starring alongside Missy Elliott in the music video for Work It, was cast as the reoccurring character Max, a rough around the edges skater who befriends the twins at school. But Allison wasn't the only star to gain a huge boost from The Sweet Life. The show would also act as the testing ground for an entire new generation of child stars, including but not limited to Victoria Justice, Nathan Kress, Rainey Rodriguez, Moises Arias, Vanessa Hutchins, Daniela Monet, Drew Seeley, and global sensation Selena Gomez. Emma Stone even played the voice of London Tipton's dog, Ivana.
So Victoria Justice was on Disney, and dang, all the Cheetah Girls. Oh yeah, they did do some crossover shows and stuff. Like, I like the crossovers. That was like so cool to see.
Were out of this world as well, including Jesse McCartney, Chris Brown, and Disney's own Cheetah Girls. This was the dream team of actors who brought The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody to life. But behind the scenes lurked a few key individuals that would cause The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody not to be so sweet. The Disney Channel was building Dylan and Cole Sprouse's show into an empire, but underneath the shiny hotel sets, millions in merchandise, and dozens of breakout teen stars was a dark secret.
The pink.
It is no secret that Hollywood is full of but you would think there would be many safeguards put in place by child networks such as Disney Channel to protect the many children on set. Unfortunately, that has not always been the case. This can be demonstrated by when Disney Channel hired convicted offender Brian Peck to play the mirror voice on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
How do I look?
2 words. Gorgeous.
Did your mirror just talk? Yep, it's something that Daddy's scientists came up with. Now, not only can I see how good I look, I can hear about it too. Yay, mirror! Let me try. So, how do I look? Well, anyway, what are you doing here, mirror?
I'm here to take you on a little trip. Come on. Step into me.
Okay, I think you've been going a little heavy on the glass cleaner.
Not heavy on the glass
Just
cleaner.
sweetie. Have I ever steered you wrong before?
You did tell me I looked good wearing a scrunchie.
It was the 90s. They were in.
Whatever, I'm not stepping inside you.
Is that a pimple?
Yes! Where? Wait, I don't see a pimple.
Look closer. Closer.
Brian Peck has worked in Hollywood since the 80s. While he is still to this day a cult figure within the horror community for playing Scuzz in The Return of the Living Dead.
And wow, I just discovered that an actor from one of my favorite movies, Return of the Living Dead, is a and what I want to know is how this never became common knowledge and how this guy continues to find work and makes a fortune appearing at conventions and still acting to this day. Apparently he's well connected and is friends with Charlie Sheen and other influential people.
He has also worked on many children's shows through the years.
You see, we draw drawings of each other. Brian is the famous artist, and we always make fun of each other and portray each other in silly, satirical ways.
Leo's job on this set, for some reason, to make fun of me all day long. Leo, as you know, is the latest, hottest, hunkiest teen idol there is.
Yeah, muscles.
Look, speaking of hunky, huh?
Brian Peck would work with Nickelodeon frequently, appearing in Kenan and Kel, Good Burger, The Amanda Show, and All That.
Brian Peck moved to Nickelodeon and coached on almost all their shows, really. It was one of those shows where he befriended a pretty major child actor. That child was by Brian Peck. He came forward and filed criminal charges against Brian Peck.
On August 19th, 2003, Brian Peck was arrested for a Nickelodeon child star. LAPD had put out a statement stating that detectives believed there were additional victims who had not come forward. And considering Peck had been working in the industry for 20 years at this point, there's no way to know how many survivors of Brian Peck there truly are, as many victims in Hollywood are forced to stay silent to protect their careers.
Brian Peck almost immediately pled guilty, clearly he didn't want an investigation to continue, or clearly the studio didn't want an investigation to continue. The victim has chosen to remain anonymous all along in order to continue to work. It's unheard of that a child would be able to step forward at the time of when they're still a minor and continue to work afterward. I can't think of a single example where that's happened. So a kid that wants to speak out and say what happened to them beyond their family would truly have to give up their career. It's very sad that that's the case, but it's a reality.
Brian Peck was convicted in 2004, where he would only spend 16 months in prison. His conviction of a Nickelodeon child star would not prevent him from continuing his work in Hollywood. As just months after his release, Disney Channel would hire him to play the mirror voice on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Either Disney Channel was unaware of Brian Peck's conviction, which would mean they aren't taking the most basic precautions to protect their child stars, such as background checks. Or Disney Channel did know they were hiring a convicted offender to work on one of their child shows and simply didn't care about the risk. However, Brian Peck was not the first convicted Disney has hired. Filmmaker Victor Salva was convicted after pleading guilty to 5 felony counts in 1988. Salva was sentenced to just 3 years, but only ended up serving half of his sentence. Fast forward to 1995, a movie called Powder was released by Disney and produced by Caravan Pictures. This movie was written and directed by none other than Victor Salva. Salva is even quoted saying, "Powder contains many of his thoughts from his time in prison," within the movie's subtext. The release of Powder prompted Nathan Winters, the victim, to come forward publicly and protest Disney hiring the convicted who him.
That's when Powder came out. And I was like at work one day, and I got a call from my auntie, and she said, and Victor wrote it, directed it, and it's got Mary Steenburgen and, you know, Jeff Goldblum and da-da-da-da. So I'm 20 years old, and I'm at work, and I'm just got hit in the gut, you know. I'm just like, whoa. You know, and then she tells me that it was produced by Disney. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, it took about a half an hour, and I just made a decision. I'm like, well, I can't allow this. And literally, as I'm like accepting this and making that decision, I get a call from somebody from the Associated Press, and it just was a powder keg. It just blew up. I mean, laying it all out there for the world to see and to know what Victor really is.
The protest caused a media stir where Disney and Caravan Pictures had no choice but to respond, and both shockingly defended their choice to hire Victor Salva. The Caravan Pictures spokesperson was quoted saying he paid for his crimes, he paid his debt to society, and the Disney spokesperson said, quote, "What happened 8 years ago has nothing to do with this movie."
The opposition was, I would say at that time, it was about 60-40.
That is crazy.
60% of the people were like supportive.
Unfortunately,
of me,
is reality.
There's the 40% that would call me all sorts of names and tell me that I was doing it for all the wrong reasons and try to discredit me. And then you got people like Eisner down at Disney going on record and saying that it was a one-time inappropriate between a grown man and a consenting minor.
This just shows that are not stopped from working in Hollywood even after convictions, and they certainly aren't prevented from working on family-friendly films and TV shows, paving the way for more and more to join this industry. There would be one more that we know of tied to Disney Channel and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Joshua Workman was the manager for Cole and Dylan Sprouse during their time on The Sweet Life. He even helped co-produce the Sprouse Twins movie, The Prince and the Pauper, which did air on Disney Channel. According to TMZ in 2008, Joshua Workman pled no contest to 1 count of misdemeanor and 1 count sales of alcoholic beverages to a minor. Joshua's attorney gave a statement stating that Joshua admitted he annoyed an individual who is a minor and provided them alcohol. According to the Superior Court of California, Ventura County, Joshua Workman's case today shows dismissed or expunged, and Joshua Workman has since changed his name and moved to Canada.
Wow. Matt
Years
changed
later,
his name and moved to
2012, a new
Canada.
California state law would be introduced and passed to help protect child stars from offenders. Brian Peck was one of the many offenders who sparked the creation of this law. The law AB 1660 requires those who work with child actors that may have unsupervised access to them, such as publicists, managers, acting coaches, and photographers, to be fingerprinted and pass an FBI background check before they would be issued a child performer services permit. While the law was a great start, it had many loopholes. If you were a fellow actor such as Brian Peck or a part of the show's crew, you wouldn't necessarily be required to undergo these FBI background checks. What? 6 years after the law was put into place, Deadline conducted an investigation to see if there's been any follow-through, and they found only 292 valid permit holders within the State Department's Industrial Relations database. Many industry professionals have not complied with the new law and have failed to register. Amongst those who have failed to comply would be publicists who represent child stars on many hit TV shows such as Disney Channel's Stuck in the Middle and Raven's Home. And while this is the darkest part of the industry that has impacted more child stars than we could ever know, there are also so many other negative impacts to child actors within this industry.
So we shot a pilot. The pilot was going to either be picked up or not picked up into a TV series order for 3 seasons, because that's how Disney did it. You'll see that in a lot of different shows that they've had.
In the late 90s and early 2000s, Disney Channel seemingly implemented what the gamer has called the 65-episode rule. Just as its name implies, the 65-episode rule was a pretty rigid programming scheme that rarely let Disney Channel original shows from exceeding 65 episodes total. Many great shows fell victim to this, including Even Stevens and Lizzie McGuire, which were both cut off at exactly 65 episodes. Both of these shows were then given a Disney Channel original movie, but were eventually phased out of the primetime Disney Channel programming. But why would Disney Channel end extremely successful shows with an arbitrary number of episodes? Many have speculated over the years why this rule was put in place, some theorizing that the stars of the shows, along with their viewers, aged out of the desired Disney Channel demographic. But the website Fandom suggests the rule may have had more to do with programming schedules rather than any personal feelings about a series on the part of studio executives. Before streaming services, DVR, and on-demand, television networks' programming was much more rigid, as the networks were choosing which reruns to play. With 65 episodes, 5 episodes can be broadcast a week, reaching the 65th episode at the end of the quarter. This caused filming and promotional schedules for the child stars on Disney to often be unmanageable and exhausting.
While some companies stay within the legal range of working hours for minors, many do not. Regardless, set conditions are inappropriate and hazardous. Did you know that according to the U.S. Department of Labor, 17 states still don't have any regulations in place for child entertainment in 2021? Yet all 50
Oklahoma's
have
on
working
there.
child performers. Adding to this, Zero Productions acknowledged that after their shoot, I will go to another, record an interview during my lunch break, train for multiple hours, skip dinner, and meet for a late night rehearsal. After all, their responsibility is to deliver a product on time and in budget, not to babysit. Meanwhile, agents are encouraging me to look at early emancipation so I can work longer hours.
By the time Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was in production, Disney was already moving on to an even more strenuous programming schedule, as the 65-episode rule was officially broken for good in 2004 by That's So Raven, and successful shows were now running even longer than before.
Are you guys working right now, or do you get a little holiday break?
We're off until January, I think, and then we're back.
What are the plans? What are you going to be doing?
I mean, we want as much downtime as we can get because, you know, we are really busy when the show's going, so we don't really, we're just trying to relax, I guess.
Yeah, mainly. That's our #1 priority.
I like it. Now, any favorite?
By its second season, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody had reached its 65-episode lifespan. Yet, like That's So Raven a few years prior, executives still renewed the show for one last season. However, with the success of Cory in the House after That's So Raven ended, whispers of different Zack and Cody sequels began to spread. The Sweet Life story was just getting started, as Disney had 2 concepts that would make it to filming. One titled The Sweet Life on Deck, and another lesser-known sequel titled Arwen, 2007, Housebroken. The Sweet Life on Deck.
Oh, I don't know that
on
one.
the twins setting sail on the
I do know
SS
Sweet Life on
Tipton,
Deck.
seeing
I did
the
watch it.
world and attending boarding school with London and a slew of new characters. The lesser-known sequel, Housebroken, would focus on fan-favorite character Arwen. Instead of having Dylan and Cole Sprouse, the series would have had Brian Stepanek reprise his role as Arwen Hockhauser, who was going to live with his sister to help her take care of her kids.
Oh, she's in this?
An entirely new cast of characters would have also starred in the show, with the most notable being Selena Gomez.
You have no business going to a high school party.
That's
I'm
crazy.
in high school. What other parties am I going to go to? She has a point. You stay out of this. I'm her mother, and I'll decide what's appropriate for her.
She has a point, too. It's all tied up.
I feel like I have
Pilots
seen
of the
that.
Sweet Life on
I'm
Deck and
tripping.
Housebroken were being conceptualized.
Just not as familiar.
The third season of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was in production, and it would prove to be majorly problematic. For starters, Ashley Tisdale could only be in a select number of episodes due to her extremely packed filming schedule playing Sharpay in High School Musical. But in November of 2007, this would prove to be the least of the concerns.
As many of you know, 3 weeks ago, the members of the Writers Guilds of America voted overwhelmingly to authorize a strike if we could not reach a fair and reasonable deal with the Alliance motion picture and television producers. Studios made it clear that they would rather shut down this town than reach a fair and reasonable deal.
12,000 writers are on strike, saying producers don't want to pay them enough when their material gets reused on the internet.
That is insane, bro. Come on. We just making, bro. We making entertainment for people. This is not to get this back.
$1 billion at least.
The Writers Guild strike of 2007 halted production on multiple Disney Channel shows. And according to the senior VP of original programming for the Disney Channel, the strike put a halt to The Sweet Life. And unfortunately, it proved to effectively kill off any chance of Disney producing 2 sequels for The Sweet Life. The pilot episode of Housebroken was filmed. However, only The Sweet Life on Deck would make it to air. Housebroken was eventually scrapped in favor of the hit Disney Channel series starring Selena Gomez, Wizards of Waverly Place, which went on to be one of Disney Channel's biggest successes.
Yeah,
However,
I
Housebroken
loved
will always
Wizards of
exist
Waverly
as the
Place.
Sweet Life spin-off with Selena Gomez that almost was. Well, at least until 2011, but we'll get to that later in the video. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was a cultural phenomenon, and each of the core cast members were quickly becoming Disney royalty. Brenda and Ashley both got their own Disney Channel original movies, and the ratings for the show during the final season just kept growing. Thus, as networks often do, when a popular show comes to an end, it's still time to continue the story.
We're really happy that Disney took us back again. We're honored. Basically what happens is Zack and Cody now do school abroad. Their mom finally got enough money with their employee discount to put us on a ship, the SS Tipton. So now we're doing school there, and basically we have to learn responsibility.
Our young teenage boys here in London are off on a grand adventure.
Where all the kids will be going to school on a luxury cruise liner.
You know, we had a lot of fun doing The Sweet Life, and it's just going to be a lot more fun doing the show.
Coming off the mega success of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, The Sweet Life on Deck was pretty much the same with a few minor changes. Instead of a hotel, they would be traveling the world on the SS Tipton. And with the removal of Ashley Tisdale and Kim Rhodes from the main cast, 4 new main characters were added. Doc Shaw played Marcus Little, a retired child rapper who shares a room with Zack and attends 7 Seas High. Matthew Timmons was cast as Woody, Cody's roommate, and Aaron Cardillo played their teacher, Miss Tutwiler. But the biggest addition to the Sweet Life sequel was the introduction of Debbie Ryan, a child star who, much like Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, got her start on Barney. The Disney Channel saw major
She was on
potential
Barney
in
too?
Debbie, not only as one of
Demi,
the front runners
Selena,
of their brand
and
new
Debbie
show,
Ryan?
but as an asset to their brand to recruit more children for the network.
A full-fledged system has emerged. It's expertly constructed, and it's bolted in place by censoring the harm happening behind the scenes, manicuring aspirational lifestyles and outcomes.
Just 4 weeks ago, I was an everyday teenager living in Texas, but I got the chance to live out my dream by being cast on Disney Channel's next big show, The Sweet Life on Deck.
When we decided to move forward and do
Debbie Ryan had a nice run on Disney.
And we were incredibly lucky to find the perfect person we envisioned as Bailey, and her name is Debbie Ryan.
Selena and Demi?
Joined our Sweet Life family.
Yeah, they all did.
So I found out that I booked The Sweet Life on Deck, and that I'm going to be, London's new roommate, which I understood from, the audition and the screen test that was a huge role. And I was like, Mom, do you know how big this show is? Do you know how big this is going to be? And she's like, yeah. And we're still surprised.
So was it hard? Because you and your mom have had to move to LA and your brother and your dad stayed behind.
It's really hard. I text my brother all the time.
The show debuted to 5.7 million viewers in 2008 and proved to be another huge Disney Channel success. Episodes like Double Cross that featured Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez
I love when they did this.
Major records. The show ran from 2008 to 2011, with a Sweet Life movie being produced as well. And overall, the show was embraced by Disney Channel viewers just as much, if not more, than the original. Dylan and Cole were certified Disney royalty, and as the Sweet Life on Deck was renewed for one final season, they were in talks with Disney again about developing the next Sweet Life sequel. Only this time, they wanted to be executive producers.
Cole and Dylan Sprouse were now around 19 years old and had spent a majority of their career and large part of their childhood working for the Disney Channel machine.
Yeah.
They were ready to leave Disney Channel and start their adult lives by taking a break from acting and pursuing higher education.
Why did I switch from acting, which my brother and I were arguably successful in, to archaeology? I think the simplest answer, and I will go into greater detail, but the simplest answer is because I can. And I don't mean that to sound pretentious. We don't realize how often we have the ability to change what is constant in our lives. And whether these things are a good constant or a bad constant, once we begin to get comfortable with concepts, we don't learn from them anymore. We start to overuse it and abuse it, and that's what I had done with acting. I think the final thing that really contributed to my change, the biggest, was that my brother and I were put into acting when we were 8 months old by our mother because we needed money. And I never made the decision to join the arts, or acting specifically.
Before leaving Disney Channel, they deferred college by 1 year to do one final season in their Sweet Life franchise, a spin-off they wrote themselves and wanted to help produce.
My brother and I, first off, we needed to stop the show. We knew it was time.
You chose to stop it.
Yes, my brother and I actually quit off Disney Channel. We quit, one because it had been 6 years. And we thought that the glory days of the show were definitely when we were in the younger series. And so we stopped it then, but also for another reason, my brother and I wanted to become producers for the show. So we were trying to get the writing credits for one more season before we went to college. See, because Cole and I actually deferred a year before we came here. And what we wanted to do during that year was film one last season where we wrote this all ourselves. We had everything out, laid out on the table. And we went up to them and we said, well, let's do one. If we're going to do one last season, it's going to be on our terms. We're going to produce it. And it'll be a setup for a new show. So what it would be is that Zach and Cody would leave the boat and they would go back to live in Boston at the hotel in the downtime between when they would go to college, if they did, and between, after leaving the boat. So there'd be a year of time there. And Cody would apply to college, and Zach would apply to college too. And we'd live with our mom again in the hotel. And during our stay at the hotel, things would have been changed, and it would kind of show this progression of time, what's happened in the meantime, how long have we actually been away, what has changed at the hotel, and, believe in the show. Mr. Tipton went bankrupt. And so how that would affect the show. And during then, there would be this little boy who lived with his single dad. And Cole and I, while we were preparing for college, would kind of raise this boy up as a little brother. So what we do would be we'd show him all the crazy stuff in the hotel. We would, lead him into all these wacky situations. We basically start the show again, but with this one kid. And what it would do is that after that, Cody would go to college. Zach, who would not get into college, would go to work in business, and a used car dealership, I believe, is what we were thinking, to show that kids can be successful no matter what they choose. They could either be, successful going to college and getting an education, or they could be successful starting a fiscal life, just really starting right off the bat.
Facts.
And
that's great.
And then the show could go in any direction with this kid that they wanted.
The spin-off Cole and Dylan came up with was truly perfect. They would act for one more year to help launch the new show and would receive writer and production credits, which would look amazing on their resume. Disney Channel would have a third installment of the highly successful Sweet Life franchise. Plus, Cole and Dylan could set up the Sweet Life crew, who at this point were more like family, for years of more work and pay. It was a win-win.
So what Cole and I wanted, the reason we wanted to do that too was because it would also set up all the cast and crew we've worked with for 60 years. So they would not lose their jobs in our decision to go to college in real life. And so they would continue to work, and we would, you know...
That's very considerate of them.
However, when Cole and Dylan would pitch their idea to Disney executives, Disney's response would forever tarnish their relationship with the twins.
Previously, when we had pitched our idea, it was kind of this situation where they had almost laughed in our faces and like pushed us out the door, and we're like, it was really disrespectful. They told us no to that idea, so that was kind of a big part of the decision, because they didn't trust us enough after all this time.
But that wouldn't be the end of Disney Channel showing how little they respected the twins after 6 years of working together. Disney Channel would call Cole and Dylan back to pitch them a Sweet Life spin-off idea, but the idea Disney Channel came up with sounded oddly familiar.
Then, like a week or two later,
what?
They came back to us and they're like, all right, well, you know, we said no to your idea. Let us pitch you our idea that we came up with and for the next season. So we sat down and we were like, all right, we'll hear you out. We're not really, Cole and I, ahead of time, we were like, you know, we don't want to do that. And so they sat us down and they're like, all right, here's our idea. You guys leave the boat. Zach goes to work in Miami with Cole. They both go, like Zach and Cody go to Miami, right? They go to this hotel, okay? And Selena Gomez is there. This is the best part. And Selena Gomez is there, and there's this kid who has a single dad, right? And you guys raise him up like he's this prodigy of yours, and you can set up the show. You guys don't get producer credits, but then Zach would go to work in a used car dealership, and Cody would go to college. But all of this happens in the rapid-paced city of Miami.
Wow. That's basically the idea.
Our idea in Miami with Selena Gomez.
Literally.
And Cole and I turned to each other, and we basically laughed in their face and walked out. And that was the last meeting we had with Disney.
This interview with Jen Sprouse,
fuck
which
y'all,
aired
bro.
on
What?
YouTube in May of
I am gonna steal our
2013,
idea.
was deleted within 2 days of its
Wow.
release. We will never know if it was Disney Channel that wanted the true reason as to why the Sprouse twins left Disney removed, or if maybe Dylan Sprouse didn't want that portion of the interview to go live. Either way, Cole and Dylan managed to break away from the Disney Channel machine very cleanly. Many Disney Channel stars have a very difficult time trying to break the Disney Channel mold, even years after leaving.
I'm sure you guys have all heard about this open essay that Joe Jonas wrote for New York Magazine. And in it, he talked about how he and his brothers were controlled, every aspect of their lives, by Disney.
Joe Jonas spoke of this in 2013 when he said being a part of a company like Disney Channel comes with certain expectations. That the pressure to please Disney Channel executives, their parents, and fans is the kind of pressure no teen should ever be under.
So working for them in general is interesting. They contract you as a child. Basically, you can't do anything that will make you uninsurable. So you can't go surfing, you can't like rollerblade, you can't do like high impact sports, you can't do team sports, you can't do certain things. Unless the executives, I think, like have to really kind of evaluate it case by case. And I'm not saying that they're gonna say no every time, but it's a consideration. It's a consideration in that when you're working for them and you're believing that if you say yes and you behave, that you will be rewarded with extra screen time, extra opportunities. Like you want them to like you, right? And this doesn't just go for Disney. This goes for any kid who's in the business, working for a big company. My mom, who was like, let's say yes to everything. Let's make them happy. Let's work well with them. And you know what? It totally worked. Like I was in a lot of things that people know now to this day.
Yeah.
But I do, however, think that there is value in saying no. Saying no is important because it tells people that you know your worth. I love Disney. I go to Disneyland, I go to Disney World, I love it. I believe in the magic 120 million%. I mean, the other thing is that when me and some other people were working for the channel, there wasn't social media. So these kids have millions of followers as soon as their TV shows are airing. And they have this massive influence that's independent of their contracts and what they're being paid for with Disney. So that means that they're independently wealthy at this point. Now that is leverage over the people that they work for. It's kind of scary for Disney because then these kids, they can make or break the fate of, I guess, the show. You know, that is something that my generation of Disney stars definitely did not have. So, unfortunately, if I had potentially seen myself as independent of anything that Disney Channel had brought me, I do believe I would have had the mindset of future growth. Rather than growing within the network exclusively.
Dylan Sprouse had a very different opinion than JoJo.
So I haven't been talking much, but yeah, I've been watching Christy's videos. I've, you know, kept up with her cooking videos when she brings on, you know, different celebrities, and I've also watched her story times and stuff over Disney. So I remember that clip. I remember a lot of the clips they put in here of her, and she's one of the old Disney stars that I feel like actually didn't have many, you know, terrible things to say about Disney. She actually really liked Disney, so, you know what I'm saying? But she did, you know, saying they were controlling, which is pretty much the big thing about Disney, at least back then. I don't know how different it is nowadays, but I've always said I wanted to be on Disney, and a lot of people have said they could see me on Disney, but I'm like, I don't know, y'all.
When it came to being able to say no to Disney Channel.
So Dylan took to his Tumblr page, and on it he fired back, and he said, first, quote, I think it's bullshit that they are being robbed of choice or creativity. If they wanted to, they could have told Disney no. Cole, his twin brother. And I did this hundreds of times, and we ended up all right.
Something surprising that about me, well, Disney wanted me to apologize for telling, I think maybe Popstar, that I had a helicopter through which I fly down into Antarctica to pick up polar bears and hang out with them. They wanted me to apologize. So, I'm not going, but I think it's very fun.
And then he continues, nowadays artists just assume they have to do what they are told by their proprietors because there is a rigid structure to achievement. It is nothing more than a scheme to rob you of your individuality and capitalize the gain they acquire from such treachery. If you believe this, not only are you incredibly foolish, but you are a bad artist.
I feel really thankful for what I got. I mean, I don't come from a lot, so, you know, Disney gave me the opportunity to go to college, which was great. My brother and I are some of the first in our family to ever do that. And it gave me a life that, yeah, for a little bit it bites you. Some people complain about it. Some people complain about Disney or Nick or being a child star. But it is ultimately a privilege. It's a privilege, it's luck, it's success, it's right place, it's right time, it's business connection. And the fact that I was able to be successful at 23 years old is something I don't take lightly in the slightest.
And then he finally concludes, you do not have to become something else to be successful. Not only is it not too late for the Jonas Brothers to redefine themselves, but it was never too late.
I took a break from acting for a little bit. I really had a sort of reinvention, like a renewal. I thought education was really important. But I was a child actor. I mean, I've been working since I was 8 months old. So I think taking a break is fundamental for child stars in general. It allows them to step outside themselves. It allows them to see themselves more objectively. But most importantly, it allows them to get real-life experiences, real-life stories. And as an artist, that's what you pull off of for emotional depth, for emotional range, for all of that. So if you have no stories to tell, and you've led no life in any realistic sense, then you can't go anywhere.
And this may very well be the reason Cole and Dylan were able to easily leave and start their adult life without always being reduced to just those twins who played Zach and Cody on the Disney Channel.
Yeah. Alright, I don't know what this music is, but Ashley Tisdale went on to have a brief career as a pop star. I don't think I ever heard her music, though. Returned to Disney as a director. Okay, I did hear of Young and Hungry. I didn't care. Yeah, that was a shocking pairing right there. I did not see that coming. Let's see. Allison Stoner. Yeah, Camp Rock. That's really nice. I feel like she's doing the right thing. Yeah, I remember watching Dismissed. Wow, for real? I didn't know. Riverdale. Hey, this was real interesting, y'all. This is, some of this was really hard to listen to and watch. Pretty sad, but also just real. You get what I'm saying? I feel like Disney, I loved watching Disney growing up. Literally, like, back then, those were like the best days of being able to come home from school and watch Disney, or on Saturdays when they would play like Disney original movies and stuff like that. Like, I just loved Disney. Like, it was just, all the shows and movies were amazing. Like, for real, the nostalgia, it's just, yeah. But y'all, let me know what y'all favorite Disney movie and Disney TV show is. If you say something new, I know you're young. I know you're young, because all the old stuff is way better than the stuff they have out now. But I don't even watch Disney now, you know what I'm saying? But I think I would still be on a Disney show. But only because it's better than, I feel like it might be better than it was before. You know, they are now having more black, you know, actors and actresses on TV shows, and I think that's what's really, really amazing, and I hope they continue to just get better with that. And that goes for every single TV network, you know what I'm saying? Like, as long as they keep adding on, you know, diverse, you know what I'm saying? Like, diversity is important when it comes to the acting biz. They're starting to realize, finally, they're starting to wake up. Like, there are more talented people around in this world, different ethnicities, different races. Let them in. Come on, let's go. Let's all make money together. But thank you guys so much for watching this video with me. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, hit that bell so y'all know when I post. And if you guys do subscribe, if y'all do hit the bell, you'll see me in the next video. Stay lit, y'all. Yeah.